Hey first grade. So today I'm going to be reading you a story called A Chair for My Mother. And we're going to be talking about characters, setting, and events. Talking about the beginning, middle, and end of a story. And being able to sequence it and retell it, okay? That is a big standard we always practiced and one that we do all year long for first grade. So I hope you enjoyed this book, and we're going to talk about some things throughout it. So with this book, we're going to be talking about the words saving and buying. What do you think those words mean? To save something or to buy something? To save something, that means you're putting money back to use at a later time. Okay, so if I want to save for something, I'm going to have to hold on to what I have so that I can later have something to spend. If I buy something, that means I'm giving the money that I have now to go and get it. Okay, also we're going to be talking about needs and wants. Something that you need and something that you want. If you need something, it is something that you cannot live without. If you want something, it is something that you can live without. So first we're going to practice some examples of needs and wants. What do you all think about water? Do you think that's a need or a want? It's a need. We have to have water to live every day, right? What about a tablet? You all love some iPad time. So, a tablet. Do you think we need a tablet, or is it just something we want? It's a want, okay? What about love? Do we need love or do we want love? That's kind of tricky because we need love. We need to feel loved, like we are loved by other people, but we also want to feel loved. So that one is kind of both, but mostly a need. What about fruit? We need fruit to help us to grow strong and healthy. It's good for us. But if we look at candy, is it something we need or is it something we want? Usually you just want that because it's not really as nutritional as fruit is. So those are some examples of needs and wants. So I hope that you kind of can see the difference between those. So we're going to read this story called A Chair for My Mother, and it is by Vera B. Williams. I hope I'm an angle so you all can see my book. It says, my mother works as a waitress in a blue tile diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salts and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time, I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I was finished, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time, I put half my money into the jar. And we have some jars here that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. So he puts his money in a jar. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money into piles. Some days she has a lot of tips, and some days she has only a little. Then she looks worried, but each evening every single shiny coin goes into the jar. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and goes into the jar. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we are going to take all of the money and go and buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. That is because our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. That wasn't such a long time ago. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals. She had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking for everyone's tulips. She was saying she liked red tulips, and I was saying I liked yellow ones. Then we came back to our block. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames come out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" But Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's here. She's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right, and our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her. But everything else in our whole house was spoiled. What was left of the house was turned into charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow, the floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. And the very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware and dishes. My cousin brought me her own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You all are the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and can start all over." That was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. "Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full," Mama said. My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On my mother's day off, we took out all the coins to the bank, and the bank exchanged them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus downtown to shop for our new chair. We shopped through 4 furniture stores, and we tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder ones, and Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 bears trying out all the chairs. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down to their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we wouldn't wait for it to be delivered. I tried out our chair in the back of the truck, and Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it while we carried it up to the door. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by during the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. And after supper, I sit with her, and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. The end. So I think that's such a cute story of a little girl who just wants to see that her family is able to fill up a jar with some coins that her mom makes from tips and that she gets from family members or earns for herself, and is able to put it into a jar just to get her family a comfy chair so that her mama has somewhere to rest and her grandma has somewhere to rest when she's cooking in the kitchen. So I think that's such a sweet and thoughtful story. Now, she had a jar, and her jar was a big one like this, okay? And so our story was about saving and buying. So they didn't just get some tips and decided to go and buy a chair as the mama earned it, because a chair cost a lot of money. So they had to save all their coins into a jar. And when it got filled to the top, that's when she could go to the store and pick out a nice chair for her and her family. So what do you think families save for? So this family saved for a chair, okay? But some families, they might save up for a house or a car. Things that are a lot of money, you can't just go and easily buy them. You have to save up for them, okay? So thinking about those things, okay? Our characters in the story were who? Who was our main character? I would say the little girl. But she also had her mama, her grandmother. She had her Aunt Ida and her Uncle Sandy. Those were some characters in the story. The setting took place where? Mostly at home. She was indoors at home. She was also outside. It also shows some where her mom was resting after work at home. And then when all the things happened, and then at the end of the story, the setting changes because now they're in the furniture stores trying out different chairs. So the setting changes throughout the story. But I want you to think about what happened at the beginning of the story, the middle, and the end. And how can you put those in order? What happened first? What happened next? What happened last? Those are important things that we've talked about a lot in first grade. Being able to retell a story, giving characters the setting and the events, telling what happened and when it happened. Sorry. Also, I wanted to give you all some writing that you could do at home. So you can always sit and write about what happened in the beginning, middle, and end of that story. And if you need to hear it again, you can always rewatch this video, or you can go to YouTube and search A Chair for My Mother and watch her read aloud on there as well. But write about what happened in the beginning, middle, and end, and do a picture and illustrate it. And also, illustrate it, what happened, and then label it, okay, so that your reader or whoever looks at it is able to see what you did. And also, I would love to see them in the comments if you would like to leave those. And then you can also do first, next, then, and last as well. We've also talked about those transitional words in our writing and how we can retell the story that way as well. Then, also, when you're writing about those things, I want you to think about those characters, okay? Rosa is the little girl in the story, okay? And I want you to think about, how does she feel? How does she feel at the beginning of the story? How does she feel in the middle? And how does she feel at the end? Remember, at the beginning, she's kind of sad because a lot of things are going on, and then her house had burned down and they had nothing. And she started to get a little bit more cheerful because people were giving them things to help them out. But at the end, she was really happy because she was able to take all the tips her mom made, and they were able to go furniture shopping together to find a chair that fit their family perfectly. So I want you to think about, if you could save money, what would you save for? So she wanted to save for a chair for their family. But if you had a jar, okay, or even think about an actual jar, what would you put in it to save? What was the kind of item that you would save for? What would you buy a family member of yours? Think about those things. Also, I thought about telling you a craft that you could do at home. If you were to have an old cup that you don't use every day, or a jar, either size, you could make you a dream jar. And you could decorate it with different things on the outside that you can find at the dollar store, or things like pieces of paper that you have around the house. Make it cute the way that you want it, as a dream jar, and then write some things down that you would like to save up for in your future when you do chores around the house, or if someone gives you birthday money or Christmas money, or just any kind of extra change if they find it, or if you find it, or if they give it to you. You may find some hidden in your couches that fell, but you can put some money in here and start saving money for things that you really want. And then if you don't want to put money in there, you could also just write on pieces of paper things that you want to save up for. And then it'll always be a little reminder inside of your jar, things that you're looking forward to as a goal to help you save and know how important and exciting that is when you finally reach your goal. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story, and I hope that you go and do your writing about it. Tell me what you would save for, and maybe make a dream jar. So, thank you guys, and I hope you have a great week. Bye. I wanted to tell you guys about the hcboe.net website for our online resources to help you guys while we're out of school, and it also provides some resources for ELA and for math, and your child can be at home practicing these things, and it gives them things that you can easily print off if you want to, or just some ideas that they can do to make sure that they're continuously learning even though we're not able to be together. So I will include on here a short little clip on how to find it in case you're not sure. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I miss you, and I hope that you have a great day. Bye. Okay, so once you get to hcboe.net, you're going to scroll down to where you see District Online Learning Options for Students and Parents. You're going to click that, and it's going to take you to see different grade levels. You're going to click first grade, or whatever grade level you're looking for, and there's an English, language arts, and math options, and it gives you the different weeks of learning and the resources to go along, and also printable resources at the bottom in case you want to do that as well.